Namaste. Welcome to online class Digital Learning, Anglo University. So today we will discuss about paper 5 optional English. In this class we will talk about Shakespeare and stage condition. Before that, after the completion of this session, you will come to know the historical, intellectual, cultural aspects of Shakespearean drama, and also you will come to know the difference of Shakespearean stage and other stage conditions. You will understand the context of Shakespearean plays. You will acquire the knowledge of Globe theatre and the beauty of Shakespearean characters associated with cultural context. Yes, dear friends, today we will discuss about Shakespeare's stage condition. Before that, we will shortly come to know about Shakespearean stage performance, what he is known for. As usually, we have known that Shakespeare is one of the greatest dramatists of the world. He had created a history in the field of drama, being an actor, playwright, and an artist, and a fantastic human being. He had written 37 plays. These includes these include histories, comedy, tragedy, and tragicomedy. These are all the varieties of Shakespearean plays he had created in his lifetime. Shakespeare's plays were performed by the Lord Chamberlain's men. The people, those who are performing Shakespearean plays, staged the Shakespearean plays, are called as Lord Chamberlain's men. Shakespeare's plays were performed during and after Queen Elizabeth I. See, Shakespeare had written and he was very famous during the time of Queen Elizabeth I. She was ruling the England. She was the Queen of England then, and Shakespeare got the popularity. His stage is also called as the Elizabethan stage. Obviously, when Shakespeare had written most number of plays during the time of Elizabethan period, uh, his place and his stage is also called as a Elizabethan stage. Elizabethan theatre, sometimes called as English Renaissance theatre. Renaissance, as you already come to know that, it is a kind of a reformation and re-innovation in the field of art, architecture, and literature. The style of performance of plays, which blossomed during the reign of Elizabeth I, Queen Elizabeth I of England. She was ruling England from 1558 to 1603. The most celebrated playwright of this period was obviously Shakespeare. He was living during the period from 1564 to 1616. Elizabethan theatre witnessed the first professional actors who belonged to touring groups and who performed plays of blank verse. Globe Theatre. Let us see about Globe Theatre now. Shakespeare opened this theatre in 1599. See, the Globe Theatre is one of the very good theatres. Shakespeare had performed his plays in this theatre only. The Globe Theatre opened in autumn 1599 by Shakespeare. Julius Caesar was the first and foremost play which was staged on Globe Theatre. Most of Shakespeare's greatest post 1599 plays were written for the Globe Theatre, including Hamlet, for example, Othello, and King Lear. Some of his plays were also written for Globe Theatre. See, the Globe Theatre, like London's other open roofed public theatres, employed a thrust stage covered by a cloth canopy. See, it is a very typical kind of a theater. You will have a look at it. Globe Theatre, it is situated outside the London city, and it is open roofed theater and employed a thrust stage covered by a cloth canopy. So this theater is covered by cloth canopy. There are no proper roof as we are witnessing in modern theaters. It was a cloth roof which was covered the Globe Theatre. The Globe Theatre, and we will see the structure of Globe Theatre. Next, the Globe Theatre was built in 1599. using a timber. It was built by timber wood, like earlier theater. Earlier theaters were also built by timber wood. This is also built by timber. It was a three-story theater, open air amphitheater, approximately 100 feet, like 30-meter in diameter, that could house up to 3,000 spectators. This is the speciality of this theater. Around 3,000 spectators can sit at single performance, and they will watch the play. See, it is in a rectangular stage for platform, also known as the apron stage, thrust out in the middle of the open area. There was a trap door for use of by the performers to enter from cellarage. Cellarage, it is a storehouse. It is beneath the stage. Yes, the background of the stage is, as we are witnessing the other theaters, it is like the company had 10 players, 10 fixed players who are performing the Shakespearean plays, 10 hirelings, various musicians. Various musicians are also accompanied by the 10 players. They are accompanied in various stage performances, stage hands, and the fee gatherers. See, someone needs to collect the fee at the entrance. So there are five fee gatherers and five boys in training. The average play lasted for 3 hours. It is the most important thing you have to notice. Uh, Once a play started, it will last for 3 hours at least. The company gave performances every afternoon except Sunday. See, in the Globe Theatre, all the plays were performing except Sunday in every afternoon, every day afternoon. Sunday, the theatre will be closed. Theaters were closed during Lent pandemic, also closed during plague epidemics, as we are witnessing in modern days, 21st century, corona pandemic. During this time, the theaters were closed, malls closed, and every activity was completely closed. Like that, when the plague and some other pandemics had happened in the history, so that time, Globe Theatre was also closed. Why that? The people will be safe in their home, and they should not be get affected with the disease. See, the companies survived then by going on tour in the countryside with the smaller companies. Like that, when the theaters were closed during the pandemics, what the company used to do, they will go for small companies into the countryside. They will perform the open yard play in the country. In 1600, London had a population of 200 to 250, 250,000 people, 200 to 250,000 people. See, this shows the population of London during the time of 1600. 250,000 people were there. And among 250,000 people, between 18,000 to 24,000 people went to see a play every week. Just you can imagine, every week around 18,000 to 24,000 will be witnessed watching Shakespearean plays. Just we will look at the this one popularity of Shakespeare at the time of the 16th century in London. The Globe performance probably started at to 2 p.m. See, the Globe performance, the plays of Shakespeare will be started around 2 p.m. in the afternoon. The theatre was located just across the river from London. See, as I told you in my earlier discussion, this theatre, the Globe Theatre, was located just across the river from London, outskirts of the city. It was outside the city limits. Why it was situated in the outside the city limits, that is pretty clear. It will be an opportunity for all category of people. They will come and watch the play, and this was very important because the censors in the city had a great deal of control over what was allowed and what was not allowed to be performed. See, that is the reason why Shakespeare had a plan. to construct the theater in the outskirts of the London, make sure that the censor should be controlled. Being outside the city limits gave Shakespeare more artistic freedom. See, being an artistic personality like Shakespeare, he had written n number of plays, 37 plays, including histories, tragedies, tragicomedies, and comedies. That will give him a freedom in order to perform freely by the artists if the theater is located outside the city limits. That is the freedom the playwright will have. Although he still had to stay on the good side of the government to avoid imprisonment. See, if anything happens wrong, Shakespeare would have been imprisoned so that he could not go against the government decision. There were three entrances to the theater. Obviously, there were three entrances are there, making sure that allow the people come inside the theater in all three different entrances. During the performance, food and drink were carried around and sold, as we are witnessing in IPL and some other football matches. See, the food is allowed, the drink is allowed, and the people will carry out the food and drink for the spectators. Like that, Shakespearean plays were also performed during the afternoon, 2 o'clock. The food was allowed inside the theater and the drink was also allowed. By that, the people will be feeling very happy while having some food and drink, they will watching the play. If you were if you are of the lower classes, uneducated and poor, see there are some categories of spectators Shakespearean plays were having. Like if you are a lower class person, uneducated and poor background, you would have purchased the cheapest ticket for 1 penny. See, look at that. Shakespeare made it very clear available his tickets cheaply for lower classes. That's why he made the price for only 1 penny. If you have 1 penny, you would stand in the pit. You are not allowed to sit, in fact. You have to stand in the pit and watch the performance. Shakespeare had to take into account two audiences. See, Shakespeare was looking at two important audiences in his plays. Whenever the plays of Shakespeare had staged, he kept two important audiences in his mind. That is, those who are sitting in the gallery seats. This is very important. And those who are standing in the pit. Standing in the pit, lower class. Sitting in the gallery seats, upper class. It was common for one actor to play several minor roles. See, if an actor of Shakespearean stage, he has to perform different roles. By that, he will save the cost of the artist of a different roles. One thing I have to tell you, dear friends, Shakespeare does not have women characters on stage performance. Though he has women characters in his plays, but those characters not allowed to stage by the women on stage. So the women characters role is also played by men. Shakespeare's company was the most successful of its day. See, whenever Shakespearean plays were happened on screen, that will be completely filled by the audience. Full packed stage was there, and the people were come to Shakespearean theaters in order to enjoy the Shakespearean plays. Obviously, there are some messages here that those Shakespearean plays carried out. His plays filled the audience, filled the theaters. The intervals between Shakespearean scenes represent changes in time or place. See, Shakespeare is following time and place. Aristotle's three unities he followed, especially he was focusing on time and place. So, by this, we will conclude this session. To see an entire play of Shakespeare without interruption, apart from the interval, may be needed for us to appreciate Shakespeare's strong sense of narrative drive. See, Shakespeare has a strong sense of narrative drive in order to carry out whatever he wanted to give a message to the audience, those who are standing in the pit and also sitting in the galleries, and to see how the text is not the play but a blueprint for performance. See, this is the most important thing what we have to witness. That Shakespeare wrote his plays not for just simply reading. He wrote plays for enacting. Enacting is very important for him instead of reading. Thus, we understand Shakespeare wrote plays for performance and not to simply read. So, in this class, dear friends, we came to know about the structure of Globe Theatre. We came to know about the Elizabethan time. We came to know about the different things about Globe Theatre and how the Globe Theatre was very popular then, and what happened during the time of pandemics and other deadly diseases happened in the history, and how Shakespearean plays were so popular in the Globe Theatre. That's all about today's session. Happy reading. Stay safe. Thank you.